What we're offering to our customers is not merely a transaction. It's an experience. When you buy from us, you're helping us hire people with differing abilities. You're helping us give back. You're helping us spread happiness.
I'm John.
And I'm Mark. And we are John's Crazy Stuff.
This is Andrew Chernlin with Chernlin Products.
This is Dan Kaplan of The Game Steward.
And you're listening to...
the E-Comm Show.
I love it.
Welcome to the E-Comm Show, presented by BlueTuskr, the #1 place to hear the inside scoop from other e-commerce experts, where they share their secrets on how they scaled their business and are now living the dream. Now, here is your host, Andrew Math.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the E-Comm Show. I'm your host, Andrew Math. Today I'm here with Mark and John of John's Crazy Socks. Mark, John, you guys ready for a good show?
Yes, it's going to be great. Thank you. I have us. I'm so grateful.
We're excited to be here. Turns out we have an e-commerce business and we love talking e-commerce.
You're a perfect fit then. Obviously, really appreciate having you guys on the show. I'm super excited for this episode just because I love your mission. I've obviously looked into stuff before I talk to people, so it's always beneficial to know what's going on. But of course, our listeners may not know. So if you wouldn't mind, why don't you guys just give us a little bit of intro about who you guys are, your business, and we can kind of start from there.
You want to do an intro?
Sure. My name is John. This is my partner, my dad, Mark. We are John's Crazy Socks.
What's our mission, pal?
Spreading happiness.
So, who we are, origin stories matter. So we'll tell you really quickly how we got started. Back in the fall of 2016, where were you, buddy?
I entered a hunting high school. I just did my last year.
John was finishing up his last year of school. People may not know this, but in the U.S., if you have a disability, you can stay in the school system until you turn 21. It's sometimes known as the 21-year-old cliff, because when you're in school, everything's right in front of you. Mm-hmm. When you turn 21, get out, and you're on your own, and a lot of people fall. What were you looking at?
I look at job, workroom, and school. I don't like the option I don't like.
Since Anthony liked. And that's also pretty common for people with a disability. The unemployment rate is 80%.
Wow.
But John here, he's a natural entrepreneur. He didn't see something he liked. What did you say you were going to do?
I create one. I want to make one.
Make his own job. What did you tell me?
I said, I want to go a business with my dad.
It was his idea. He comes and says, Dad, we should go into business together.
I did. I want to have a nice father-son business.
Right. I got 3 sons. He's the youngest. This is one I can work with. And then we got to figure out what we're going to do. After a couple of false starts, you had your eureka moment.
I did. I want to start Crazy Socks because it's fun, it's colorful, and creative. I will always let me be me.
Right. So here's what we figured. John loved these socks so much. Surely there would be other people who loved them too. So we could find our tribe. And, for the e-commerce moment, we went the lean startup route. We didn't spend a lot of time building a business plan. We didn't go looking for outside financing. We're going to bootstrap. And we're going to test the idea. Would people want to do this? So you already had the name.
Yep, I got my name. I taught the website.
We had ideas of a website. We built a store on the Shopify platform. We convinced some distributors to sell us some socks. You have to make do with what you have when you're bootstrapping. Mm-hmm. So the only marketing we did to start was to set up a Facebook page, and we made some videos with my cell phone. And who was in the videos?
I am. I talk about socks. Socks, more socks.
Right? We opened in December of 2016. tested the idea, and it worked. In 2 weeks, we shipped like 452 orders, and we had about 13,000 in revenue. So we said, okay, we got something. We've gone on to build and grow the business, and this December will be our 5th anniversary. It's a different type of business model. It's a social enterprise. So we have both a social mission and a business mission. And overall, we're just trying to spread happiness, right?
Right.
But it's really built on 4 pillars.
Socks you can love.
Socks you can love, right?
Yeah.
So we started with 37 different socks. How many do we have now?
Within 3,000 different kinds of socks.
Which makes John here the owner of the world's largest sock store.
That's right.
But
wow,
we're talking e-commerce. You've got to be a great e-commerce business. You've got to have great website, selection, product, service, right? So that's where we start. We're always looking, the second pillar, to make a personal connection with our customer. So we can talk more about that, but what goes in every package?
A sticky note and candy.
Right? Everybody gets a handwritten thank you, Mrs. John, and candy.
Right.
Then there's giving back. So we started by pledging 5% of our earnings to the Special Olympics. And why the Special Olympics?
I am better Olympic athlete.
Right? So we knew we're going to give back. We've gone on to create products that raise money and awareness for causes. So what was the first one we made? First awareness.
The first one is a download from awareness socks.
We've gone on to create autism awareness socks, CP awareness socks. Last year, during when the pandemic first hit, we made. We wanted to thank frontline workers. We made healthcare superhero socks. They've raised over $50,000 for frontline workers. We're rolling out now a joint project with the American Cancer Society. So there's a lot of giving back baked into what we do. It's not, well, let's see, we have money at the end of the year, we'll write a check. It's part of everything we do. But most important, we want to show what's possible.
Yeah.
What can people with a differing ability do if you give them a chance? So more than half of our employees have a differing ability. It's not enough just to hire people. We want to show people. We create content. We host school tours. We do speaking engagements. So prior to the pandemic, we crossed Canada, the U.S., Mexico. We're part of the State Department Speakers Bureau. After we did that, we move online. We're spoken around the world. And we do advocacy work. So we've testified twice before Congress.
Yes.
We've spoken at the United Nations.
Yep.
And all that wraps up to John's Crazy Socks. So what we're offering to our customers, which is really our community, is not merely a transaction. It's an experience, right? The way we package, the way we deliver things. When you buy from us, you know you're helping us hire people with differing abilities. You're helping us give back. And you're helping us spread happiness. How cool is that?
So much of this was amazing. I don't even know where to begin. That was it's the best intro to a business ever. I love the mission. It makes so much sense. And the amount that you've done in like 5 years is astonishing compared to, let's ignore the fact that you've built this massive e-commerce business. You've done so much for advocacy of like speaking in front of Congress and stuff. That's amazing. I don't even know how to like reiterate that. Like, it's just, that's so cool. And to have the largest, so you said you're the largest sock distributor or retailer.
In terms of choice. I mean, we're not out selling Walmart or Target, but in terms of choice, yes.
That is amazing. So, okay. So let's dive into that a little bit. That's a ton of SKUs. So how are you guys managing that large of a product line? Like that's a ton of inventory. That's like, how often are you coming out with new SKUs? Like what's that whole process look like?
Okay, so first, right from the beginning, or initially, we didn't make any socks. We were buying from others.
Mm-hmm.
We still do that. We get from about 27 different suppliers. So we're picking the best of what we can find. Everybody here picks, and our customers help us pick what we're going to get, right? Because we want to maximize the choice so you can personalize what you get. We do design some of our own and make some of our own. Last year, we entered into a strategic partnership with a third generation family business that made socks to boost our ability to produce our own socks. So we're adding more and more of our own all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unlike any other business. We keep what sells, we drop what doesn't, and we add new things all the time. We do work very hard at just-in-time inventory. So we're ordering all the time. We're like everybody else, screwed up by the problems with the supply chain now.
Mm-hmm.
But because we have so many suppliers in so many different places, it gives us opportunities to get things from multiple places.
Okay. So do you have a 3PL you're shipping out of? Do you guys have your own warehouse? How does the shipping?
We do our own shipping. We have our own warehouse. We do our own fulfillment. And that's a choice for a couple of reasons. One, we want to create jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way we create jobs. But the other, we've become very good at kind of customizing complex fulfillment. So we're now doing that for others as well. Here's an example.
Genius.
So we want to give you as a customer an experience. It's not just a transaction. And we want to make it personal. So we told you every package gets a handwritten thank you note and some candy. Yes, it is a photocopied handwritten note. But now we have 5 different packages, depending on how many orders you've placed. So if it's your first order, you're getting one set of inserts. If it's your second or third, you get another one, and so on until we reach over 5 orders. We're able to do that because we do our own fulfillment.
That is genius. I never thought to do that. So like on a marketing side, you always think of like, doing that from an email aspect of, oh, here's your new customer, your repeat customer, anything like that. But to do that on the fulfillment side and have it as different inserts is genius. Like you guys did a fantastic job of following through, that customer journey and then just making sure that, you're specializing it every way through the entire process. That's just amazing.
You have to, once you're committed, once you really believe, then it becomes manifest in everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you another example. So we send out candy. We also sell socks for diabetics. So one day, one of our happiness packers says, hey, what are we doing sending candy to diabetics? So now what do we do? Now we have a supply of sugar-free candy that we send. It also gives us the ability to, in an ad hoc way, flag different packages, to throw something extra in,
mm-hmm.
to do something extra. And right from day one, originally, the first day, we were doing home deliveries. So now we've shipped to 85 different countries, 360,000 packages. John still does home deliveries.
Yes, it
If
is.
we get an order between our office, warehouse, and where we live, on the way home, he's delivering that package.
That's so cool. And you guys have done an amazing job with following that through. Like you guys are like the king of operations. Like to be able to own like the aspect of the entire journey all the way through And like you find a lot of sellers who are just like, oh, I want a 3PL. I don't want to deal with warehouse and employees and things like that. But you're a great testament to owning the process throughout the entire step is a great way to keep that customer. Like, I'm sure you have a pretty large returning customer base just based on what you've told me so far.
We do. We have very loyal customers. And again, you're always looking, right? So here's one of the things we do. On your packing slip, you're going to see a sticker with the picture and the name of the person who picked your order. Because we want you to know we're real people here. We don't just treat you as a number. We're connecting with you. And one of the things we do is we hire people with differing abilities. You should meet them. Right? So when you get that package from us, it's got his mug on the outside because he's the logo. Right? You get this nice, cheery, colorful package. You open it up, you get your socks. Right? And this may seem really basic, but you got to get the order right. You got to be accurate.
Yeah.
And it's got to be there on time. We do same-day shipping, right? You get your socks. You get the handwritten note from John. On the flip side of that, there's the story of John's crazy socks. You get some candy. You get 2 discount cards. Why 2 discount cards?
I was for customers. One that I give it to a friend.
Right? So when you get that package, just the experience of opening that package is going to make you smile. It's going to make you happy. You can't get that from Amazon.
No. No, you can't. That's
right?
a very true statement.
Not putting the thank you note and candy in his package.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos, Amazon has Prime Day, right? I want to say we want to emulate Shakespeare and Bob Dylan because we want to steal from everybody. We'll steal a good idea wherever we get it. They have Prime Day. We have John Day.
That's
John
great.
Day is August 11th. It's his half birthday, right?
Oh, we just missed it.
On Prime Day, what do we do? On John Day. Well, we give out things to our customers. And we donate $1 from every order to the Special Olympics. Because that's who we are.
Yeah.
Amazon is not donating $1 from every order to anybody on Prime Day.
No, they're donating it to Jeff's space program.
Right? And don't get me wrong. I respect what Amazon does. It's just a very different business model.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking e-commerce. You got to have the basics down. You got to have that foundation. It may sound easy, but get the order accurate. Get it delivered on time, right? Answer the phones. Answer the emails. Be there. Because I'll make the analogy with the offensive lineman in football. You don't notice when they do a good job, but you notice when they give up a sack, right? How can we spread happiness if you get a package and it's not on time or it's not delivered right?
Yeah.
But here's also some of the follow through, right? I had a great talk last week differentiating between customer service and customer experience, right? Banks give you customer service. We don't time any conversations with anybody. It's a human interaction. And we will refund money for anything. We guarantee for a year. You're not happy, you don't have to send us the socks back. Just tell us, we'll give you your money. We send people money, we do anything we can because we want to make them happy. Our return rate, our refund rate, is less than 0.5% of our revenue.
There you go.
Because if what you're about is making people happy, you don't have problems.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to hear a seller say that. And it's also at the same time bittersweet just because I know how many sellers I've spoken to who don't realize like covering the basics is so important. Everyone's always focused on like, oh, this person's doing this cool little tag, like hacked, and they're doing this or they're doing this, and I want to try it. But no one's focusing on just the basics, like just get it to them in time. If you said you're going to do it, then do it. If you're, give a great customer experience. If you're going to offer free shipping, make sure it's free shipping every time. Like just the basic stuff. And it's amazing how sellers just kind of oversee that. And it is nice to hear someone like yourself who's just like, no, we're going to cover that first before we start doing any bells and whistles.
Why would you want to be otherwise? And it's important internally because our people feel good about working here, right? They're not fighting with people.
Exactly.
Andrew, who is our Lord of the Socks, he's the head of our fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how good he feels that he knows that he's getting all those packages out? He's making sure they're accurate, right? And he's involved in all of our, we're a very small organization. We come up with all sorts of ideas of things we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Andrew, you can tell us why this is going to be hard, but your job is just figure out how can we do this. And he does. And it makes him happy, right? Or our folks that work directly with customers, right? You've heard the old line, the customer is always right. Nonsense. The customer can be dead wrong.
Yeah.
But we're not in the business of being right. We're in the business of making them happy. So our people don't have to fight with customers. They don't have to argue. They just go and give. Everybody's better off. I'll give you another example where all of us get to decide the world we want to live in. I walked in, this is now a month or so ago, into a conversation with some of our colleagues. And it turned out a woman had called up and wanted to order some socks and pay by check. So she was going to mail a check, right? Because here's the simple thing. Right today, we only sell online and you got to pay online. Unless, of course, you call us and say, can I order over the phone or can I mail you a check?
Mm-hmm.
Say yes. Well, we screwed up. We didn't put the order aside. So by the time her check arrived, one of the socks we were out of stock on. Okay. So I'm listening to this. I'm saying, well, why don't we just send it right away? And the answer was, well, we didn't have the check yet. And so what? So let me ask you, Andrew, if you told somebody you were going to send them a check, would you send a check?
Yes.
Of course you would.
Absolutely.
And we're not talking to an anonymous person. We're talking to somebody we're talking to on the phone. And they said they'd send us a check.
Mm-hmm.
So let's live in that world. Let's live in the world where somebody tells us, yes, we're going to do something. And we believe them and we trust them and we take them by their word. And we're going to treat them that way. Well, it turns out when we checked, pun intended, so we'll have our 5th anniversary in December. Nobody has ever bounced a check. So now, if you call us up and tell us, I want an order and I'll send you a check, we'll ship that order that day. We believe the check is going to come. Will we get burned someday? Maybe. And if we do, a pox on you, we'll never do it again with you. And if it grows to be a problem, maybe we'll adjust, but it's not a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's kind of like that whole thing that, people say like, oh, you have to earn my trust. And I never really understood that. To me, I always never really got it. I was always kind of thinking like, why should I have to earn your trust? In my opinion, trust is given. You have to basically deserve to lose my trust. In that case, it's very similar of like, yeah, if someone sends you a check or doesn't send you a check, even though they said they would, then great. Then you don't accept it next time. But if you just go ahead and trust people and look at, the benefit of the human nature, then obviously you're going to end up giving a better customer experience. And that's where your word of mouth starts to spread. And obviously the business starts to grow from there. So I completely agree.
My middle son has had a number of really terrible jobs. Sometimes I think he looks for terrible jobs. And he was working at a nutraceutical place in their customer service. When he showed up, he had to empty his pockets out and put them in a locker. When he walked in the room, he had to sign into a computer, and that monitored everything he did. He got limited bathroom time and had to sign off for a specific amount of time. They had cameras watching, they're monitoring everything. Guess what? those people delivered terrible service. Because if you treated them that bad, they're going to act that bad.
Oh, I bet.
If you do the opposite of, I believe in you, I want to help you. If you take the notion, this seems so simple to me. I work for everybody here. My job is to put everybody here in a position to succeed and to get them whatever they need to succeed. So if I do that, if everybody can succeed and I'm serving them, we're all going to be better off. And think of the better world that is.
It's an amazing way to run a business. I love that. That's awesome.
Get that phone.
Yeah. Let's pivot back to something that you had mentioned in the beginning, which I found very interesting. So I always find a lot of sellers are constantly looking for really professional, amazing, great ways to create content. But you had mentioned that you guys would grab your phone and would just kind of create things that way. And obviously, clearly it's worked for you, which is amazing. And then again, in this industry, like social enterprise alone, which has obviously become a very big thing, and then socks, which even in that general area is also a very big thing. So how is it you leveraged just creating your own content and yet are still able to differentiate yourself from, a pretty vast amount of competitors that you guys have?
Okay, I can share our experience. I'm not going to claim to be an expert.
Okay.
First, in the last 5 years, the world has changed much.
Mm-hmm.
So things are different. But our approach is we're trying to engage with people. We're sharing who we are and what we're about. And that's how we're going to connect. That's more about the story and the content, and to a certain extent, vulnerability, than it is about buy. We have an advantage. If all we were doing was selling socks, right? I told you when we started, we didn't do the traditional business plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've gone out since then and counted. There are exactly 1 gazillion companies selling socks. If all we're doing is selling socks, we're lost. How do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah.
But for us, the socks become the physical manifestation of what we do. The socks become the physical manifestation of the story. Don't get me wrong, they're really great socks. But what are we going to say? Ours are stronger, tougher, thicker, last longer than yours?
Mm-hmm.
So we get to keep telling a story. And because we have that mission, it allows us to persist and to withstand ups and downs. Here's an example. We get hit with the pandemic. Pandemic was awful for business. So what do? Well, you got to adjust. And then you got to think of what opportunities does it create. So some of the opportunities, okay, we start selling masks. But what's our mission, pal?
Spread happiness.
How can we spread happiness during the pandemic? So Tuesday afternoons at 3:00.
I hold a dance party every Tuesday.
John hosts an online dance party. What's more fun than that?
It's awesome.
We might get 100 people dancing on Zoom, right? We're not selling them socks. We're just saying we're going to help spread some happiness. So think about movies. The best movies tell a story. It's not the graphics, the chase scene. It's the story. You can have all the graphics you want and special effects, but if there's no story, it's a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's got to be some there. And if that's what drives your content, we're looking to have better made content. We're experimenting with different ways of filming some things. But in the end, it's got to be what we're about. So, I mean, here's an example with email. Email lists are what matters. That's something we own. But when somebody gives us their email, they're entrusting that to us. We got to protect it. We never sell it. We never share it to somebody else. Every Friday, John sends an email out to people. All it is John giving an update on what he's doing or what's exciting him. This week it's about you're taking a vacation.
Right.
Last week it was about something we did with the Kennedy family and the Joseph P. Kennedy Foundation, which now wants to work with startups and innovators working in the field of people with intellectual development disability. But what was the lead photo? It was John sailing with Max and Kennedy and Tim Schreiber. We weren't selling anything. We're connecting and engaging with an audience. But we have 250,000 names for our email list, but we're only sending that to about 60,000. If you don't want our emails, okay. We send emails out about products, but we're not hitting you every day with an email. We're in it for the long haul. I was just working on a list.
Yeah.
We're not looking for the short sale, the sudden sale. We want the long relationship. If you take that view with your social media, if you think about what can we do to connect with people and engage, and how do we build a community, and make do with what you have.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a baseball fan. Too much money makes you stupid. You wind up like the Yankees, overspending and then swallowing your mistakes. We can't afford to do that. Right?
Right.
Pretty good?
I could just hearing you talk would be great to have you guys in like different conferences. Just it's amazing how the way you speak about the way that you're running your business is just so straightforward. Like it's very common sense. Like it's amazing the people we talk to sometimes where, like you'd said, like I know you guys are leveraging social media a lot to spread your story, and it's amazing how many sellers are out there just posting pictures of their products all the time and are just saying like, look at our jewelry or look at this electronic we have or something like that. And that's not what social media is about. It's about building a community and just leveraging that audience just to tell a story. And then, you sell products and that's what it is. But that has to come secondary. And so many owners struggle with that because they think that product is their livelihood, when in reality, it's really more the audience is their livelihood.
I understand the pressure. But we got to sell. If I don't sell, we go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, listen, neither of us have any background in retail.
Mm-hmm.
I've never run a warehouse before. We don't have special training. I mean, yes, I've prepared my whole life for this interview. We take it, it's what you said, it's common sense. We don't compare ourselves to others. We're watching all the time. I told you, I want to steal every good idea we can.
Yeah.
We don't have every good idea. We're humble about that. But what makes sense for us? Here's a small example. We have a sock of the month.
Mm-hmm.
We do pretty well with that. People view us as a gift company. We don't set ourselves up that way, and we understand why they do that. So many of our socks are gifts. The sock of the month of our gifts. So we struggle with renewals. We get very high reviews on it. People love it, but we don't get a lot of renewal. We've had consultants advise us, salespeople tell us, this is easy. You make it an auto renewal. So they have to affirmatively stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That would make us more money. But I can tell you as a consumer, I hate that. So why would we do that?
Yeah.
Yes, it would give us more money at some point, or maybe short term, but not long term. Right. It's why we had to find the right strategic partner.
Mm-hmm.
We had people in here, they wanted to buy the brand. We had investors wanted to buy us, shut us down, change everything, and just have the brand. We could have made money doing that. They would have made money for a year. It would be gone.
So what is the goal of the company towards the end? Like on more of a personal level, like, sometimes sellers want to eventually just sell off their business. Some want to hand it down. Some want it to be a generational thing. Like what's kind of the goal there?
We have no exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
We wanted to restart it. Just the two of us, because we wanted to give John meaningful work for the rest of his life. We have structured the company so John will be taken care of. We are completely driven by how many more people can we reach and touch. I wish everybody could come in here at the holidays and see us when we got 70 people working and this place is abuzz. And all these folks, people with Down syndrome and autism and Fragile X, the place is whirring. There's nothing better in the world. We hear all the time from people in very passionate ways. We want to do what you did, or can you hire my son, my daughter? Mm-hmm. So we have to grow to reach more people, to give more people jobs, more people an opportunity. Some of the initiatives we have. So next month, we're going to introduce our happiness index. We're spreading happiness. Well, let's measure it. And we're experimenting and figuring that out. But 50% will come from our customers. And we're looking at things like our net promoter score, our reviews, what percentage of our reviews are 5-star reviews. The answer is 96% out of 29,000. So what's the return rate? And half will come from our colleagues, from our employees. Mm-hmm. Because the happiness has to start here. And we're experimenting with different surveys. This week, did you feel proud to be working here? Did you feel connected to the mission? And then we're going to put it on our website, and you will see what's our happiness index, where are we? And then we're going to ask other companies to do that too, because we'd like to ask every company, how much happiness are you creating for the world? Imagine if the President of the United States, when she or he came and spoke to us, on the podium was the happiness index for the U.S. government. How much happiness you? So that's one thing. We have another initiative we expect to roll out in early 2022. We're calling it the JCS Champions Program, but it's very simple. We want to put 1,000 people into business within 5 years. 1,000 people with differing abilities, them or them and their families. We want to give them a business and put them in business. We're going to give them a business in a box. We will give them a rack or a kiosk. We're going to give them inventory. Mm-hmm. We're going to connect them with a credit card processor. We're going to give them marketing materials. We're going to give them training and ongoing support. So other people like John can show that entrepreneurism is an avenue for everybody, and they can have their business. And we want to see 1,000 of those businesses across the country lighting up and showing, look what we can do. How cool will that be?
That is amazing. Both of those ideas are awesome. Like the happiness one is blowing my mind right now, because obviously right now with everything going on now that the pandemic is easing up a little bit, and obviously there's all these issues of people getting back into jobs, and there's a lot of jobs, but no one wants them and all this fun stuff. The idea of having a live feed of how your employees and your customers are feeling about your business on your on your website at any given moment is genius. I love that so much, because how many people would go to a site with a company that they would shop for all the time, but then see that their employees are not happy? Business is over. And now all of a sudden your owner has to turn around and go, wait, we need to focus more on our employees, because now our customers are upset that we're not taking care of our employees. And then you have the opposite of, you land on someone's site and you don't know anything about them, but you're seeing that their employees are thrilled and they're loving working there. All of a sudden you're like, all right, well, let me see what this business is. And you kind of like, oh, that is genius. I love that.
It's part of the power of the social enterprise. I mean, if what you want is the cheapest product, you can always find that.
Yeah.
There are always places you can go. That's a very tough space.
Mm-hmm.
But increasingly, consumers are asking, who are you? What are you doing with my money? How do you treat your employees? How do you treat the community? How do you treat the environment? If you have a social enterprise, you can answer those questions. Right? So we're not right for everybody. I saw yesterday on LinkedIn, somebody, a different podcast, had posted a podcast interview with us. There were a bunch of comments. And one person said, I looked at the website and they had 4 or 5 socks I would like, but the prices were very high. Okay.
It's not
so
for you.
I said, hey, I'm sorry. Thank you for giving us a chance. I'm sorry we disappointed you. We get new things all the time. But if you're looking for inexpensive socks and you need help, let me know. I'll be glad to give you a list of places to go. That's not us, but I'll help you. We can't be all things to all people.
No, you can't please everybody.
No. So you have to know, you got to know who you are. At the end of the day, you have to listen to your customers, listen to your critics, but you can't fall prey to either the praise or the criticism. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and ask, are we being true?
Yeah.
Right. One of the things in this biz that, we think of all the time, we can't blame this on headquarters. We can't blame it on the board. It's us.
You are the board.
Right? That's it. We have no excuses. We got asked by a high school kid not long ago in a talk we're given, who did you have to get permission from to do this? And it's an interesting notion. But people act that way all the time. Well, I can't do it. Why not? Go and do it. Who's going to stop you? So, if you come back and ask us where we're going, we got to reach more people. We got to create more jobs. We got to create more opportunities, show more things. And we're incredibly fortunate because of the platform we've been given, but it then creates an obligation. If we have that opportunity, if we've been given this opportunity, we now have an obligation to do more, do for others. I think Cicero first framed that, though people related, I think, to Spider-Man, to those given much comes great responsibility. That's the way we feel. Right? And I'll tell you a funny story about how that works.
Right.
So we're down in Capitol Hill, and we're going to testify before the House Small Business Committee. One thing, they get the heads of various organizations, advocacy organizations, CEOs and stuff. We're the only one that actually has a person with a differing ability there, and John was the star of the show. But that day, we share on social media, this is what we're doing. We get a phone call from a customer in Houston who speaks to one of our colleagues and says, are they really on Capitol Hill? Yes. Well, my mother works there, and she's a big fan of John's. I would love to meet John. Do you think they'd have time to meet her? Sure. Here's Mark's cell number. Just text him to contact him. Well, who is Mom? Nancy Pelosi. So we get the audience with Nancy Pelosi. And here's one of the things we forget. It's an unfortunate thing. We either laud or vilify these elected officials and forget their people. So I don't care where you're on the political spectrum. Nancy Pelosi is an Italian grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
We go in. She takes out pictures of socks that she gave George H.W. Bush, because John had become sock buddies with the former president and they had exchanged socks. So this is warm and loving. They're taking photos together. She's telling stories. It's fabulous. But then I'm saying, but Miss Pelosi, we got to also have a conversation. We're up here today. We're trying to repeal the sub-minimum wage, which allows employers to pay somebody with a disability as little as 5 cents an hour. And there are 400,000 people working under these conditions in the United States. We have to change that, right? Because if we're given the opportunity to meet a person in power, we got to speak up.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what I mean. It creates the obligation. And what a thrill. I mean, it's great fun. For me, to be sitting literally in the halls of Congress next to my son, about to speak the power. It was so awesome. And he's just like, oh, I speak to groups all the time.
That's great.
And John, we had another moment. Well, there've been a lot like that. Of we won. It's not self-aggrandizement, but we won the Entrepreneur of the Year awards from EY, Ernst & Young. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They clarified things by changing the name from Ernst & Young to EY. And we're at a conference they have in Palm Springs. This is how the other half lives. And the managing partner from the New York office is having breakfast with me and John. We just happened to sit at the same table. Says, you know what? We have a big town hall, 5,000 employees in December. I want you guys to come and speak. I was going to have the CEO of Clear, but I want you. And I'm looking at him saying, well, you out of your mind. Clear's going to have a big IPO. They're going to make a fortune. We sell socks. We go do this thing in December. We're in a side room waiting to go on stage when Carmine DeCibio, who is the worldwide CEO for EY, comes in the room. EY has 250,000 employees. And this is the guy in charge. Now, we've met Carmine before. He's a very nice guy, very down to earth. But when he enters the room, because everybody, their body language changes, the tone of the room, everything changes. Except John. He enters the room, John sees him, goes, Carmine, how are you? They're high-fiving and hugging, and everybody around the room is like, what the hell is going on here? But to John, he's like,
just another guy.
Another guy.
Yeah. It's amazing. Look, really appreciate having you guys on the show. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys need to go back to spreading happiness because you're doing so much better at it than I am. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. Any closing remarks, anything you want to let everyone know where they can find you and all that fun stuff?
Well, we should do that, right? If you want to get great socks, where can you get them?
At johnscrazysocks.com.
johnscrazysocks.com. Now we can say the world's largest sock store. But you get great socks. You're going to help us employ people with different abilities. You're going to help us give back. I mean, here's a really cool thing. John here is a Special Olympic athlete who's now donated over $100,000 in a Special Olympics. How cool is that?
That's amazing.
And you buy from us, you're going to help us spread happiness. And you have some advice?
I do. Follow your dreams. Follow your heart. Work hard. So you can do.
There you go.
Great way to end it. Of course, obviously, Mark, John, I appreciate having you guys on the show. To all of our listeners, obviously, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you head over to ecommshow.com and subscribe to the show on any podcast platform or YouTube or anywhere you want to go. And then, of course, keep selling and good luck out there. See you all next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the E-Comm Show. Head over to ecommshow.com to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on the BlueTuskr YouTube channel. The E-Comm Show is brought to you by BlueTuskr, a full-service digital marketing company specifically for e-commerce sellers looking to accelerate their growth. Go to BlueTuskr.com now for more information. Make sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of the E-Comm Show.